Hindu mythology is rich with stories, symbols, and deities that have been passed down through thousands of years, originating from texts such as the Vedas, Upanishads, Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Puranas. These texts form the basis of the religious beliefs and mythological narratives in Hinduism, covering the creation of the universe, gods and goddesses, moral stories, and epics involving divine heroes and their adversaries. As for proof, ancient Hindu texts like the Rigveda are among the oldest religious texts in the world, dated around 1500 BCE, though some scholars suggest they may be even older. Archaeological findings, such as the Indus Valley Civilization, 3300 to 1300 BCE, show early forms of religious practices, which some scholars argue could be precursors to Hinduism, though the direct connection is debated. Temples, sculptures, inscriptions, and ancient manuscripts provide material evidence of the long history of Hindu religious practices. What religion came before Hinduism? Hinduism itself evolved over millennia and does not have a single point of origin like some other religions. The early practices in the Indus Valley Civilization are often thought of as one of the oldest predecessors to Hinduism, though it wasn't Hinduism as we know it today. The people of the Indus Valley Civilization may have practiced early forms of religious worship involving fertility symbols, animals, and natural forces, which later became elements in Hinduism. Vedic religion, sometimes referred to as Brahmanism, is often seen as the direct precursor to Hinduism. It focused on fire rituals, yajna, and worship of deities like Agni, the fire god, and Indra, the warrior god. This Vedic religion gradually transformed into what we now call Hinduism, absorbing various indigenous beliefs and practices across India. Hindu mythology is a rich tapestry of stories, gods, and cosmic events that have been passed down through scriptures and oral traditions for thousands of years. These stories are deeply rooted in the religious texts of Hinduism, such as the Vedas, Upanishads, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Puranas, and Bhagavad Gita. Key concepts in Hindu mythology. Creation myths. Hindu mythology describes the universe's creation in various ways, one of which is through the story of Brahma, the creator god, who emerges from a lotus that grows from the navel of Lord Vishnu, the preserver. Gods and goddesses. The mythology revolves around many deities, each with their stories, including Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Durga. These deities represent different aspects of life and the universe. Avatars of Vishnu. Vishnu is said to have incarnated in various forms, like Rama and Krishna, to restore cosmic order. These stories are central to texts like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Epic battles. The Mahabharata describes the Great War of Kurukshetra, which is both a physical and moral battle, with teachings from the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna counsels Arjuna. Proof and historical evidence. Hindu mythology, much like the mythologies of other ancient cultures, blends spiritual teachings, morality lessons, and fantastical elements. The stories are symbolic and metaphysical rather than strictly historical, so proof is a complex topic. However, some aspects of Hindu mythology are intertwined with real historical and archaeological evidence. Ancient texts, the Vedas, dated around 1500 to 1200 BCE, are some of the oldest known religious texts, providing insights into the beliefs and practices of early Vedic society. While they include mythological stories, they also offer historical records of rituals, social structures, and beliefs. Archaeological evidence. Sites like Dwarka, an ancient city associated with Krishna, have been excavated off the coast of Gujarat. Some scholars believe these underwater ruins could be remnants of the city described in the Mahabharata. However, the exact connection to Krishna's myth remains debated. Rama's Bridge. This natural chain of limestone shoals between India and Sri Lanka is linked in Hindu mythology to the story of Lord Rama building a bridge to rescue his wife, Sita, in the Ramayana. While geologists believe the formation is natural, many Hindus see it as evidence of the events described in the epic. Temples and artifacts. Ancient Hindu temples and artifacts, some over 1,000 years old, often depict scenes and stories from Hindu mythology. These are historical testaments to the importance of these myths in the culture, though they serve as artistic representations rather than direct proof of the myth's historical accuracy. Hinduism has roots in the ancient Vedic religion of the Aryans. Before Hinduism, early forms of religion might have included the Indus Valley civilization's practices. Vedic religion and the early cultures that coexisted in the Indian subcontinent are seen as the foundational layers of what would later become Hinduism. In conclusion, while Hindu mythology is deeply symbolic and religious, certain elements have been linked to real historical and archaeological findings. However, like other ancient mythologies, it is primarily understood as a framework for explaining the universe, human existence, and moral principles rather than a literal historical record.